Hey, hello there, guys. Welcome back to the 26th of August 2022, and this is the Friday's market wrap-up. So let's get straight into it today. We read that it would be best to work on your questions with as we note questions regarding gold, especially with what's happening. This is what's been said and discussed in the symposium about the US. So I hope you guys can we shall get to it. Into gold's on Wednesday's session. I have shared my opinion on gold, especially technical. And we are also looking at the major players as well. So let's take a look at gold technically on the day chart. And what I've done as well, I mean, the recordings, you guys want to look at the recordings, has been mapped out as well, positioned for gold, and basically it started on Wednesday that we actually look into mapping out all positioning, and this is where I would be looking at a geometric bullish pattern as I draw in the outline. So let me just make that a little bit clear by putting a triangle here. Second. Bullish. This is the geometric. Geometric ABCD bullish. Okay. Position on gold that we expect the upside. Of course, at the moment it's still it is actually and Victor, okay. Basically, what I've started here, Kobe, is and Victor, is to look at gold straight away. So we've not started long. This is a couple of minutes. We've just started. We're looking at the current possibility of gold to the upside, but this is based on the daily chart, and we're just experiencing some corrections. What we're doing is riding along what could potentially be driving forward gold's prices to the upside, but we have not given it just yet. Because of various reasons, especially if you're looking at technically, this is a, for those who have just joined us, this is a geometric ABCD pattern. And the point of entry would actually be at the central area of this pattern. Let me just make this pattern a little bit clearer, the shades of purple. Second, guys. seconds. Okay, so this is a technical, I call it a geometric ABCD that will actually use. This is sort of my take, and we can always discuss this probably Victor as well. You guys better positioning in terms of knowing the best direction to take for gold as well, or maybe for the entry, and basically timing ones as well. So this is roughly how it looks like. I mean, this is the only art that I do as an individual. I don't do any art. I would love to paint and do a lot of other things, but this is basically art that I do on the chart. So, any questions so far on gold? I mean, who amongst you are actually trading at the moment? Gold? Any traders? Let's take a look at lower time frames as well. Look into the fundamentals as well in a bit. At this moment of time, I've been looking at the geometric ABCD pattern technically as well, and looking at price action for trends. I'm looking at various ABCD pattern on the downside as well at this moment of time. So it could be driven a little bit lower before it takes the upside position. Let me also share with you guys something that I've mentioned a while ago about the especially with the long form cup and handle pattern that we have ridden, I think, close to about 8 months now, and has actually proven to be quite successful in terms of price action onto the pattern itself. So I'll share that with you guys. And if we go into the weekly or the monthly chart here, what we have ridden all this while, I mean, especially in the monthly chart right here, this cup and handle pattern that may have actually failed in terms of its not the U-shaped body of the cup and handle pattern, the handle side. Because the handle side of it, the one that comes downwards, due to the duration and that retracement usually stops at the 50% to, let's say, the cup right here. But I'm not sure on some other patterns in terms of double tops and all that. It probably has actually broken or in the mixed of breaking that shoulder side of the top. But what I can actually see is that it has actually failed that handle side of the couple handle. When it fails that, it has more probability to the downside, or perhaps to actually go under that 50% mark. So it has actually really passed that 50% right there. And now it's got all these areas that it has stopped creating triple support areas as well. It's similar level as you guys can see. So that is another mark of a possible sideway as well. It's further down or the upside as well. This stage is probably has got more possibility sideways. 70-50 area. Now, Toby and Victor, have you got any suggestions or opinions on goals? That's short, medium, or long. That's the
Hello.
It's on 30 minutes chart. Yes.
We can't hear you. We can't hear. There's a lot of noise in the
Cannot hear
background.
me.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise in the background.
We can't hear you at all. A lot of noise.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Give me a second. Let
And
me.
the chat is
Testing 1, 2, 3. Now, is it a little bit better? Testing 1,
Yes,
2,
we can
3.
hear you. There was a lot of noise in the background.
Is it a little bit better now?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay. All right. Because, sometimes depending on the suppression, there is not much noise here actually, but it could pick up the music and the chatting of the people. All right. Now I think it's a little bit better now, right?
Yes, better.
Okay, brilliant. We've got another setting that allows it to actually totally suppress whatever that goes outside. Give me a second. I think we are okay now. All right, good. Background music. Okay. So here, what's your take, Toby and Victor, on gold at the moment before we move on to some USD crosses, actually? Any opinions or suggestions? You guys are on gold as well or not?
At all, I'm not on gold. I don't look at gold at all.
Okay. Any suggestions on gold position, or what do you actually look at most? Crosses? I mean FX, Forex pairs.
Exactly, Forex pairs.
All right, good. Because we had a lot of community of gold traders as well. I mean, online CFD. So we thought we will go on to gold a little bit before we go on to. If there's no questions on gold, especially with GBP and we are still following up on to price action lines that we've actually drawn for GBP CHF as well. And I think we can also look at BY amongst others. Let me very quickly bring you to the action Forex tool first. Give me a second, guys. From Monday onwards, I've got a space, quiet place already set up, so we won't have this kind of noise at all. Okay, guys. So I've arranged on that, so everything will be perfect. But I'll be in the office of TenTrade on Monday anyway. But most of the other days when we have to do impromptu webinars, like live calls, webinars, and stuff like this, I'll have a dedicated space for that, and it's going to be quite quiet totally, right? Okay, so let's take a look a little bit on the heat map that I usually take a look at on Action Forex. Okay. So as we can actually see, we've got a bit of a mixed bag in terms of bullishness and bearishness of pairs. But what strikes me since last night was the driven momentum, especially with flow on GBP crosses, and we can see that it's still happening here, especially for GBP AUD. So I would like to take a look at GBP AUD as well. But before that, just to give you a bit of an idea of top 10 movers as of now as well, just to give you a hint of which pairs are dominating or which currency is dominating that top 10 movers as well. We can see that we have got loads of euro crosses right here. So that could actually be mirroring up with what do you call that, the fundamentals or the release of economic data, especially as here, for example, I'll just filter the medium and high impact news and filter it for today. And today is Friday, 6th of August. As we can see, we still have the highlight of Powell's speech together with whatever that's going on from a day-to-day, whole day basis in the Jackson Hole Symposium. And with that as well, I would like to highlight the possibility of a surprise volatility on Monday, especially because of not only the symposium, but a lot of the other activities that has been marinated into the market and then broadcasted onto the mainstream media would actually be working its, sort of working the volatility and the liquidity of the markets over the weekend as well. So I think you guys know as well that the cryptocurrencies market opens on Saturdays as well. So there's a lot of a mix of sentiments as well in the market at the moment. The new blood, new what do you call that, new traders community from the crypto side of it. They are all actually based on, I would say, about 60+% of their analysis are based on more fundamental and what's going on in the States as well, as opposed to more technical. So us that are more, I wouldn't say biased, but more focused on the currencies market would actually be more, I would say 50-50 or 60-40 between technical and fundamental, but more on the technicality side of it. But on the crypto side of it, because of how it has actually been moving with Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, so the fundamental researching side of it has actually increased its popularity in that side of it. So whatever that goes on over the weekend or for the whole week in terms of the symposium or what goes on that would impact the data, economic data, part of the research by crypto asset traders and cryptocurrency traders. Right? So here, for example, as we can see, we have got Saturday. I mean, that the whole symposium still goes on. So it has actually gone on since Thursday. And as we can see, we are watching Bloomberg on a daily basis, CNBC or even CNN. Then there's this coverage, especially on CNBC and Bloomberg, on the symposium itself. So the symposium has actually been quite, I would say, and quite impacting at the moment, but we have got loads of expectation basically in terms of movements, liquidity, volatility as well. Okay, we have got a baby in the house that just actually came in. All right. So we won't have these interruptions at all starting on Monday because I'm still at the cafe at the moment. I'm having a space basically for my webinars, especially to actually be sorted out. And I've got a green screen and various other things to do my news type broadcasting. So everything will actually be ready from Monday onwards, and we're just setting up all the cameras and basically everything else here in Liverpool. So yeah, we'll get that done, and that will actually be starting from Monday onwards. So you guys won't get any more interruptions or sounds in the background. Okay, all right. So with that, any questions, guys, about your current trades in relation to how the market has actually been moving, whether with perhaps the symposium or any other economic data of mental impact side of it as well. And with a class break there. It's also peak time at this moment of time. So, okay, process especially, I would like to take a look at GBP AUD as I've mentioned. Let me just grab that so we can rewind and talk a little bit about what we have discussed on price action, psychological numbers, for example. So let me just get into GBP AUD first. All right. Just a bit of a trend analysis technically first before we conduct more of a fundamental analysis. Still a lagging indicator, the three lines that I use, but it's proving to be quite smooth in terms of the movements of the three lines, the movements of the cluster of candles on the GBP seem quite nicely or biased to the downside. And at this moment of time, I mean, if we're looking at price action itself, I mean, because we talk a lot about psychological numbers, price action using psychological numbers, also closing and opening price of previous month candles, we would be best in the best position to actually highlight some psychological numbers at this moment of time from how the GBP is moving. Now, you can actually use this simple, I would say, techniques or approach on psychological numbers based. I mean, it can actually be applied on most other, what do you call that? Most and also on oil. I've highlighted that. So at this moment of time, let's look at the price. It's trading at 1.6937 area. So I'll take it at 4 decimal places. We'll get rid of the last decimal number, the last digit, the fifth digit. We'll just look at it at 1.6938, let's say, right? Says that my connection is unstable again. Okay, so here, for example, what I could actually show you is that at this moment of time, as it's trading at 1.6937 or 38, as it moves downwards, if we were biased to the downside, is that it would actually be coming downwards towards the 1.6920 psychological level. So what I will do right now is to mark two levels, one on the downside, that means under the current current price, one psychological level, and then above the current price, another psychological level. Okay, so here, for example, we got 6, and that is your lower psychological levels right there. Then your mark one above. So as the price goes upwards, you would actually bump into the closest psychological level of 1.6950. Okay, so this is just based on the closest psychological numbers. Now, the reason for that is these psychological numbers also act as very, very powerful support and resistance zones. Okay. Hence the reason we are using the power psychological numbers for your entries and exits, basically finding the ideal price based on the psychological levels or closest psychological levels to enter the market or to exit the market. Okay, so 6950 will actually be that level right there. So now, as you can see, it becomes a little bit clearer of where the current price is actually trading. Now, the current price in the 1 hour chart, we'll go into the 4 hour and the daily as well, is trading in between the range of psychological levels of 1.6950 and 1.6920. So what that actually means is that as it breaks out price-wise, price action-wise, based on psychological numbers, it breaks out of the psychological zone in terms of price. On the upside, it would then give us more positioning to the upside in terms of bullishness or even correction, but on a bullish run. And that is basically when it breaks up above that zone. And if it breaks down under that zone, then it's actually giving us more bearish hint. So what it's best for us to actually do at this moment of time is to just highlight that as a zone that price needs to positioning of price action and whether or not the participants will come mostly from the seller side of it or the buyer side of it as well. So I'll highlight this as well. Okay. Now, so bring this. So this is a analysis, or I would say more of a trend analysis based on psychological numbers using as well to help you map a zone that would actually be clearer for you to actually see. Now, when you move on to the 4-hour chart, then you zoom up a little bit, then you can see that area right there. Let me just zoom out. I zoom up totally on the 4-hour chart, you can see that that's where we have actually marked that very small zone based on 1.6950 right down to 1.6920, right? So if it breaks lower out of that zone, then we have got more of a bearish stand. So this is just to keep us a little bit on the safer side in terms of understanding where could it actually just maintain this on a daily chart. So this is on GBP AUD. So we can actually take a look at the pairs that you would like to take a look at, and just same sort of principle in terms of psychological numbers we want to optimize them. Now, here itself, when I'm looking at, let's say the daily chart, visually alone, because I use a lot of visual, skills to actually look left, look right on the prices, look left on previous mother candles as well. Here, very clearly, it's got more bias to the downside clearly as well, right? For you guys who are familiar with trend analysis, visual stand as well, it's got more bias to the downside. Now, if I go on to the weekly chart, I don't really see that geometric pattern that I could actually see really clearly on the daily chart. Hence the reason it is quite important for me, especially when I apply the geometric pattern to actually scout through different time frames as well. So here, I'd just like to share this where we've done a previous analysis on the potential bearish geometric pattern. I usually use the control, and then we just mirror this A to B move. This is a normal ABCD pattern to the downside. I just want to demonstrate the use of patterns, geometric pattern as well, together with psychological numbers and your trend analysis. And then you guys can actually also add on your own strategies. I mean, these are complementary type approach that could actually polish up certain existing analysis that you guys have already done, let's say, right? So what's important is to arrive at a uniform decision-making process, or even trend analysis that is, in sync with all of us, following what's moving in the market, as well as our analysis. So let me zoom out a little bit so you guys can see that this is where A point is C, and then B, right? Roughly. But all the mechanics of how you trade with geometric patterns, the science or the art behind it, it's a combination of science and art, I think. And basically, science means geometric side of it, the geometric shapes has got its own principles. And this is where AB's length equals to CB's length. And what usually happens is if the Fibonacci ratio right here, because I use the Fibonacci ratio, both retracement and extension, to be giving us hints of where price would actually arrive at the deeper on geometry. So what that means is, just give you guys a bit of an example. What's really important for me is to pull your Fibonacci retracement from A to B. So that A to B needs to confirm where the C point lands. Now, in this entire geometric pattern, what I see as really important is the landing of the C point. So if the C point lands at 61.8%, then there is a bigger likelihood that the D point would land at the extension of 1.618. Okay? So this is your first way of knowing where roughly it could actually the first way of knowing where the D point could land is just by drawing that A to B equals C to D line, right? But then if you use your Fibonacci, we could actually, based on the C points retracement, when you pull the B to C, we would actually be looking at 1.6 million roughly. So that actually gives us a little bit more room and giving us a possibility that prices could potentially drop a little bit lower than the D point, if at all the trend is encouraging that, right? So this is how I would be trading using the pattern, but always combining it with various other methods and methods as well, just to be on the balance side between fundamentals and fundamentals. So once I have converted that common ABCD pattern into a geometric pattern, now it's a geometric pattern. Earlier on, it's not. The way it's converted is just by drawing the A to D line, and then we have got a central area right here. That is usually the point that really 1.7218. So with 1.7218 or 19, it is really close to the 1.72 psychological number. So I would at that time consider entering 10 pips under the 70-20 psychological number. What that actually means is my entry would only be 7210 and so this is how we apply the use of psychological leverage. In the videos of tutorials, on the geometric patterns course, I'll be laying out all the techniques of 7110. Okay, so there you go. So that's my sort of preferred entry, not 71, sorry, 7210. Oh, there you go. So now I've got a ideal better price right there, 71. So I would have entered there and basically came up with this low of 1.6791. Now, because 6800 is really close to this income right here, what I would do, or I would suggest traders do, is if you are aiming at this D point, it's probably best to exit the market based on psychological numbers. So if it is based on psychological numbers, an ideal exit price would be at 1.6810. So I'll just mark that as well. Okay? 1.6810. So that's 1.6810 is right there. So if at all I have been trading, let's say, and just riding along that my previous analysis right there, then the potential of it would actually be from the entry price of 1.72, 1.720 below and under, which is 1.7210 and under 720 was the psychological level. So we are looking at the potential right here for 6,810. That's close to 400 pips, which is 390 plus pips potential, right? So what we would have done is to trade it in stages, depending on the time frames that you guys will wish. So you can take it on the 1 hour chart, looking for baby patterns in the 1 hour chart. So how I would actually be trading in stages with the geometric pattern is when I actually find a big pattern on a big time frame, and then I look for similar pattern in a lower time frame. So you guys can actually trade that baby pattern, we call it. And how we are actually trading the geometric pattern is only on the CPD layer. So whether it's a bullish ABCD geometric pattern or a bearish one, we are only riding the CPD's CPD's lane, right? So if we take away, let's say, the central, the A to B line, sorry, what usually happens is that this ABCD pattern could easily be attached to a harmonic pattern like an M pattern, for example. So if previously, before the A to B line actually occurred, there was a, let's say, for example, there was a appreciation of price to the upside, then this could actually be traded not only as a geometric bearish ABCD pattern, but also as part of an M pattern. Now, when an M pattern happens, what that actually means is a possibility of a price rising upwards, right? When it ends at the deep point. It all depends on, in my opinion, and for years of been training in harmonic patterns as well, is that I've converted everything and basically summarized it and make it more effective on harmonic pattern to convert harmonic patterns into my own geometric patterns. Now, the reason for that is also because one of the most successful chart patterns out there has always been the ABCD pattern from my research of doing so. And that simplistic geometric, sorry, not geometric, but the ABCD pattern is quite geometric in its, following principles of geometry as well. Because if we very simply attach these lines, the whole formation basically is made up of two triangles. So we've got two triangles that have actually made up that, and what we happens is it's on how the C point is actually landed. So I have made experiments based on about 10,000 over charts. We look at four Fibonacci retracements as the most preferred one. So we've got a 38.3%, the 61.8%, the 50%, and the 78.6%. So out of the four chosen Fibonacci retracements, I think we got questions, right? Okay. Out of the Fibonacci retracements, the 78.6, the 61.8% seems to be the most high probable ones that usually, if it is in a good, clear trending market, it usually has got a higher probability of success of the deep point reaching as a big profit area. Here at all the seed point is at the 61.8 and the 78.6%. So there's a lot of mechanics in it. Okay. All right. So here, for example, you guys are clear so far? I mean, I've not begun with the courses on geometric patterns yet. I mean, it will get ready very soon with video tutorials and stuff like that. But it's an addition. It's not a whole different strategy for you guys, right? So it's just an additional sort of method or approach, you can say. And additional skills of applying that onto your current strategies if you guys see it as beneficial, and to polish it up whatever technical analysis that you guys are actually doing. So yeah, that has been useful. So these are price patterns anyway. But sometimes with harmonic patterns and the normal chart patterns, there is no entry and proper usage of a system based on the patterns for giving you a proper entry, justifiable entry with stop loss and take profit and stuff like that. So that's hence the reason why I've actually sort of tweaked that whole approach with harmonic pattern and all the other price patterns to make it a geometric pattern to basically have a system for traders to actually follow, like usage of stop losses together with the Fibonacci retracements, extensions as well. I would like to share with you guys something as well with regards to Fibonacci retracement.
Hello, Kenny, 1 minute.
Yes.
The chat is disabled. Are you aware? The chat is disabled and people might not be able to ask any question.
Say that again. You cannot see my chart.
The chat is disabled for the attendance, so they can't send any message.
Yeah, we cannot send any message since the webinar started. I've
Oh,
tried
you-
it several
you
times.
cannot-
It was
You
disabled.
cannot type. Ah, right. Okay, give me a second. It's not disabled. You mean the chat on the box, right?
The general chat wherein we can participate and ask questions, chat disabled. That's why it's showing.
Let me type.
You have to activate it.
Yeah, I had a bit of an issue today with the thingy. Give me a second. Let me just. I think. Can you guys see my message?
Yeah, we can see, but we cannot respond.
Okay, let me check that. Give me a second. Disable a notification. Give me a second, guys. I'm not sure why, but it shouldn't. Probably done. Okay. Me, I'm filling out with questions on like how you have spoken, so we can address some of your questions. Let me just figure out how to. Yes. Okay, can you guys try now? It should be okay now. I think I accidentally did something.
Yes, it's okay now. It's okay.
Okay, right, good. So I think it was me that I did something wrong with, mistakenly. Sorry about that. Okay, you guys can start. Bravo. Okay, you can start typing into the box. Any questions that you have? Is it still very noisy for you guys, the background? Okay, Salim, thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, Victor. Any questions, guys, on what I've demonstrated? Perhaps you guys want to share as well, especially Victor and Kobe. If you guys got any analysis to share? Or shall we look at any other pairs for the guys who are attending?
Yeah, my system is not set up yet.
Okay.
So I'll just pass for now.
No problem. Okay. Let's look at EU as well. That's a good one. And also GBP USD. I'll look at GBP and then Euro USD as well. Okay. Let me just get it ready. Just second, guys. All right. There we are. Now that's for Euro USD. Let's look GBP USD. For and start with the testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Not sure what happened. I think it was the connection. Okay, we're back. Okay, guys, you guys can see the screen. Let me just right. Hi there, guys. I think we're back. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened. Hi there, guys. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet. I think they have been disconnected a few times. So I think Toby, it's probably best if you continue with it disconnected again. Give me a second. Let me- Toby in, not yet. Okay. We're on, right? Yes. And let's just start again. Sorry, guys, I'm not sure what happened. Let me just. Right. I'll make sure that this don't happen on Monday onwards. We've got a better place and connection as well. Okay, you guys can see my screen as well, right? So we are on GBP USD. I think probably best. Toby, are you actually in? Just in case it happens again, it's probably best for Toby to also be the host and yeah, we'll just wait for Toby so we can take over in case it happens again. All right. So back to the GBP USD. Already has automatically recorded as well. It's not tricky, but it's expected to actually have this corrective move at this moment in time. But in my opinion, it's probably best for us to monitor the 1.1820 psychological level as well, mainly because it is trading at 1.1818. So 1.1818 or 18 is really close to the 20 psychological level. But also, as it is trading and moving to the downside, let's say if it reverses and moving downwards, it would actually be bumping into the 1.1800 psychological level. So as it goes lower than 1.1800, let's say 1.1790 and below, then it would actually be giving us traders a better chance to enter the market for a sell. So I wouldn't actually advise trading at this moment of time, but just to monitor the strength of the downtrend even more and give it more time for it to marinate that. It is in a good position in terms of cluster candles being under all the three lines. Also, the three lines are moving really nicely for a downtrend bias. And if we are looking at the daily chart as well, we can actually see that it is trying to actually go under this valley area or this low area. We are not entirely sure how strong is the downtrend at this moment of time, mainly because of the movement of cluster of candles going to the sideways as well. And it could actually be a little bit of a double support here or double bottom right here. We don't know that yet, right? So here it's got sort of two peaks that are parallel or looks parallel to each other. But a lot of traders may actually look at it and say, okay, maybe double top there, stuff like that. It's quite subjective if we look at it only on a visual stand. But in my opinion, it looks like, it shouldn't be actually looked upon as a double top, a very clear double top. Also, with what is going on in between the tops, we don't see a very clear V shape. It must be like a V shape, V shape. So you've got your two tops parallel, but then it's a nice V shape. So when it's a nice V shape, then it would actually be, I'm just looking for some samples. It would actually be increasing the probability of that pattern a little bit more. So I wouldn't actually be looking at a double top right there or anything like that. But I want to monitor this area here of why it is creating that sideways and that level of support is quite similar. I mean, it's quite incredible in terms of the total prices of certain goes to this low right here. Okay, so it's a slight lower low, but then it's not really very clear. So what I would do in this case is just to get some help from the trending indicator there, your average directional movement index with your level 25, just to look at the strength of the trend, giving us a lot of strength of the trend. But if we remove that and insert the stochastic, for example, just a simple way of looking at whether or not we may have a little bit of a divergence as well. Mainly from the peaks as well. Here it's not that clear on the daily chart. Let's look at lower time frame. Right here, we've got something here that is quite close to a divergence right there. We've also got this area here. This is a higher low. You've got a lower low, and then here we have got a lower high. This is a high, and we got low here, let's say. And here is quite a clear higher high, right? So there's definitely some divergence there, and this usually marks a potential reversal. So I wouldn't actually, be too confident on that single candle movement, bearish candle movement. We've got lots of beginners and newbies. Usually they focus or overly focus on either a one-time frame or a single candle movement, and that single candle movement or single time frame focus is very, very successful. Okay, so any questions, guys? I think more people will actually going in and using the Wi-Fi. I think that's probably the problem that I'm facing at the moment. But it won't happen from Monday onwards, guys. All right. Any questions, guys? Anything that you guys want to share before we end the session? It's probably best let me see whether Toby here. No? Okay, no problem. So I thought of handing over to him so if there's any questions, just in case that we get disconnected. Any questions, guys? Just type into that little box. Testing 1, 2, 3. All good, guys? Any questions? Victor, have you got something to share as well? Thank you for that. Would you like to look at a pair and maybe share your views on it?
Yeah, good day, everyone. Thank you, Kenny. So probably I'll prepare for next time. I'm not really prepared to share my chart.
Yes,
I'll prepare
yes.
for next time. Yeah, but I just want to encourage everyone to turn up for the analysis. It's usually very, very helpful. Okay, so hopefully Monday will be better because of the network issues.
Yes, yes. I think that will all be resolved. I'm actually working on my green screen at the moment, so hence the reason they had to drill and do a lot of refurbishment of the place. So I've got a complete area to do all my presentations as well as and all the videos as well. So we won't have that situation at all from Monday onwards. Actually, it was supposed to be today, but not in time for them to complete certain things because of the angle of drilling. Actually, they had some technical, so hence the reason I've been waiting as well since last week. So they finally finished everything. I think just about an hour or so to finish everything, and then by Monday we are ready. Okay. So Monday we can actually work hand in hand as well with yourself, Victor, and also with Toby to support our traders to work hand in hand in our analysis as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much. There's a question in the chat.
Oh yes. Give me a second. Yes, we've got bias on the GBP/USD. It's not confirmed yet. Yes, let me polish up that analysis a little bit more for you, Kiamadi, Jacob. Okay, and here, for example, I usually do my trend analysis first, like how I've actually done so with the 3 lines. Now, the 3 lines itself and the movement of candles are definitely well, I wouldn't use the word definite and all that. It's looking most probably biased to the downside, especially for GBP/USD, and you can see that a build up of views from the 1 hour, 4 hour, and then the daily. It's like walking into a tall building and going onto the 5th floor and then the 50th floor and then the 100th floor. You'll see a different view, right? So this is how I would like to build that story of trend from a lower time frame. And usually I look at a 3 consecutive time frame. And for GBP/USD, when we started with a 1 hour chart, it was not that clear, especially with the 3 lines moving, sideways. But as I go onto 1 time frame, I see that clarity has actually been encouraged to the downside still, especially the 3 lines. They split open and they go to the downside, and we still see the maintenance of the cluster of candles to the downside. But of course, we don't usually look at the current candle movements only, especially for newbies out there or beginners. They tend to be tempted most of the time to look at either a single frame, time frame, or a single candle movement, and then for them maybe they would actually look at it as uptrend GBP USD now, because that is the positioning of the current candle going through. And it's it's looking very encouraging to the upside. But looking at it as a story, when we compare 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily, then we get a better, bigger picture, right? And we need to look at in that perspective. And now, as we see the current candle movement to the upside, what I can actually see is, from a complete price action and psychological numbers perspective, that upward movement could potentially be limited in terms of price action itself for the psychological numbers. Why? Because it's trading at 1.1830. As it actually goes from 1.1830 up and above, you would actually be bumping into the first psychological, closest psychological number 50, which is 1.150, right? So that is an area that we need to actually know, is that we are aware that despite whatever that is going on with the price, with a single candle movement, we need to be aware of this price action. 1.1850. Okay. So once we've done that, then we can see that 1.1850 mirrors completely resistant areas as well. So that is a good confirmation to actually hint you guys that don't get overly excited with the uptrend now, or don't actually even think of a potential entry of a buy at this moment of time, because it could potentially be very risky. It could potentially be a reversal that could actually happen at any moment of time. So that could actually then, I hope, instill a little bit here in understanding that there may be a potential reversal. Now, that itself could be able to stop you from making hasty decisions and just entering the market straight away for a bounce, because for those who are new in the market and they've just learned about trading Forex, let's say, or Forex pairs especially, they would actually be very tempted with entering the market right now for a buy, because they would say that they think it is an uptrend. So we need to be re-educated and understand that it is not, it's going to be very risky if we are going to perceive the market or analyze the market with that mindset. Now, that mindset of single candle movement or single time frame movement is really very, very dangerous, right? And very contagious as well. So a lot of even my members or students as well, they tend to pass on the miseducated approach, and then it creates a mess in the market, especially with risk, especially, right? So here itself, with all these peaks that I can see, I can lay out more lines based on the lowest value right there, let's say, and then the highest wicks as well, right? So then we have got more. Okay, maybe we take this one right. So we've got now 4 lines right there that should actually be, even you are in that these could act as an order or resistance zone as opposed to a resistance line. So let's monitor as well, and what we should 1857. So looking at downside price movement for GBP is probably best for us to look at trading or entering the trade only if prices are under the 1850. So 1840 and lower could actually be a better price to enter for the season cost of the buyers of the market is more on the sell side as opposed to the downside, as opposed to the upside, right? So there you go. Especially on the daily chart as well, and if you're looking at the weekly chart as well and all that, we can see that cluster of candles are moving further down. The three lines are also moving quite smoothly and nicely, like a river flow to the downside. Okay, so shall we also take a look very briefly on Euro USD, as mentioned earlier on. Second, on Euro, from the daily chart itself, straight away, it's a very nice smooth movement of the three lines to the downside, cluster of candles as well to the downside. On the 4-hour chart, let's take a look. It is similar, not too bad in terms of the movement of the three lines, as well as the movement of the candles. Of course, we've got a bit of a reversal type movement impulsive, possibly for the 4-hour chart and process and looks right here. Now, on the 1-hour chart, 1-hour chart, I would say moving into the three lines trend on the 1-hour chart, but range, it is giving us hints for Euro USD. I hope that's clear. Okay. You guys clear so far, Euro USD and GBP USD? Any questions on these two pairs? Thank you, Victor. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Kiamadi. If I pronounce your name right, Kiamadi Jacob. Thank you. Okay, guys. So that's basically it. That's time that I have for you guys, and we will be seeing each other again, and it will be clearer as well. I think on Monday, because Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday, I'm usually in the Nicosia office, so that would be okay as well. It'll be clear, and it will be better connection, and also clear in the office of TenTrade. But any other webinars from Mondays onwards, so any sort of videos that I would be making and everything else, especially the live ones, are all going to be in a better place. All right, so fingers crossed, legs crossed as well. All right, questions, guys? Any questions? No? All good? Salim, thank you. Kiamadi, thank you. Hi, Adamu. How to identify a lead zone? Could you clarify what you mean by lead zone? LEAD. You mean like a resistance zone and a support zone? Is that what you meant? A zone usually, in my opinion, would actually be a group of more than two lines, especially more than one line. They cannot be just one single line, right? So let me, if that's what you meant in terms of resistance and support, I'll use this example right here. Let's say we have got a potential resistance zone that we would like to do or create at this area right here. All you need is to draw a line with the highest body and also at the highest weight, right? And then I'll add constant multiple numbers into it as well usually. So this could be your zone, your resistance zone. Similarly, on a support, it's on the, let's say in this area right here, in the low, you want to mark your lowest body that you can actually see right there, and then your longest weight right there. So that is your resistance zone. Okay. Then your support zone. I'm gonna change the color to blue. There we go. And that will be your support. So there you go. You've got your resistance and your support, but it should be made of at least minimum 2 lines, not a single line. Okay? So that will actually then be it's a line, single line, then it's a single line on the level. They are minimum, then you can actually call it a zone. Right, I hope I've answered your question, because I didn't get your response after I've asked. What lead means. Right, I hope that's what you meant. Questions? Okay, good. Thank you so much, Adam. All right, guys. Now, that's all the time I have. So we will end the session for now, and we'll see you guys on Monday's week ahead review. And meantime, I would like to wish you guys to have a great weekend ahead. And thank you very much for attending my webinar today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Victor, Toby. Take care, guys, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good one. Take care, guys.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.